Hey everybody, and thank you so much for joining us for the 105th week of the Free Assange Online Vigil series. My name is Andrew Smith. With me tonight I have special, wonderful as always, co-host Misty Winston, and we should be having Pasta join us as a guest host a little bit later on. But we do have a very special guest with us, Cara Castronuova. But before we get into that, I do want to run through the numbers really quick for everybody. So we have 3,857 days of illegal and arbitrary detention for Julian Assange. We have 821 days since the WikiLeaks founder was trafficked from the Ecuadorian embassy after being sold to the US and the UK for a $4.2 billion loan from the International Monetary Fund to the nation of Ecuador. We have 184 days since Vanessa Breitzer's January 6 ruling denying Julian Assange bail after personally ordering his release and ruling no extradition in his case. We have 1,413 days of inhumane detention for alleged Vault 7 whistleblower Joshua Schultz. At least 978 of those days have been spent under special administrative measures. We have 820 days since the political persecution of Ola Bini started at the hands of the Ecuadorian government. We have 25 days since Commander X was illegally taken out of Mexico and renditioned to the United States. We have 28 days since whistleblower Reality Winner was moved to house arrest and is expected to be fully free and put on parole as early as November 23rd of this year. 475 days of freedom for Chelsea Manning, 123 days of freedom for Jeremy Hammond. Super excited for all three of those. Link in the description because there is a Free Commander X protest taking place on July 20th. Steve, Glory, and that crew's heading that up out there. I believe it's in San Jose. I could be wrong. Information's down in the description as well as stuff for the End the Damn Wars protest, Free Assange and Fuck Censorship taking place in mid-September. But with that, how are you today, Misty?
I am doing very well, sir. We should probably add the March for Medicare for All stuff information too, just so everybody has easy access to that. To try to get as much direct action out there in the streets, But yeah, I'm doing good. I'm excited for the show. Let's jump into it.
For sure. So we have a wonderful guest with us who is working on something absolutely incredible right now. Cara Castronuova is working, and she'll go more in depth for this, but working on organizing against the illegal detention of a lot of the January 6th protesters. Particularly, they've been held in solitary confinement for as long as Julian has had his bail denied, about 180 days, if not more, since the beginning of January and all this started. So could you talk a little bit about what's happened to these people, how many there were originally, and kind of what they're facing right now? Because the conditions that they're being held in are very similar to the way that Julian's being treated.
Right. I mean, they were being held in solitary confinement because we've been making a lot of noise, and I think that people are starting to pick up on it. Now they're getting a couple of hours a day out. They're being held without bail in very, very terrible conditions, almost third world like country conditions. Some of them have described it as. There's guys in there who have cancer who are not able to access their cancer treatments or their doctors. There's an 80-year-old in there who has very, very bad deteriorating health, and he's really literally being treated like a terrorist. Most of these guys, or at least a lot of these guys, are not being charged with anything more than disorderly conduct, trespassing, stuff like that. And it's very, very sad that they haven't yet been convicted of a crime, but they're being held without bail in solitary confinement. A lot of them, a guy was sent down to the hole. I found out for a couple of, I think it was 2 months ago. He's been in there for almost 2 months because he was encouraging the other guys not to take a plea deal, and he was encouraging them to stay strong. So they're basically saying that he was sort of inciting a riot or something like that, and they basically, put him in solitary confinement and won't let him out, and it's crazy. So that's just the conditions that they're dealing with right now. I've been organizing different rallies and awareness events to bring this attention to people, to the media. It's really been hard getting media attention for this because for whatever the reason, the media has completely iced out anything having to do with January 6th, mainstream media. When I say media, obviously guys like you and other alternate podcasters and alternate media has been really amazing in getting the word out that this is even happening, that this even exists. But the majority of people in America don't even know that this is going on right now. So that's what the scary part is. And like our mission at Citizens Against Political Persecution, which is the organization that I co-founded, is to get the mainstream media aware. They are aware, rather force them to cover this, force them to recognize what's going on and to report in a fair and accurate way to America. And if they don't do it, then we have to get the word out there on our own via events like rallies, which we're doing. There's one on the 17th in DC. There's one in New York City on the 25th. And through the alternate podcasters and the alternate media, that's the only people right now willing to tell the truth.
How many people are still being held? Do you know? Do we have like a number of how many people are still being incarcerated right now without charge?
Yeah, there's there's not, that's the thing. It's very hard to find a number because people are getting arrested every day still. In DC right now, there's about 40 guys in a pod that are being held without bail, but there's a number of guys around the country in different states. Like I know that Oklahoma has a holding center where they put guys in. It's like kind of like a transfer center. There's some guys in there. There's guys in New York, all the different states right now being held. So we can't really exactly say how many, but we know that there's a lot of them out there, and we're trying to put a number on it right now. But for sure in Washington, D.C., there's about 40 guys right now that are being held without bail in these conditions.
And these are all pretrial
that's
detainees, correct?
it's crazy because you don't really hear about it. And I think a lot of it is to do with the fact that the media, at least, I hate calling them left media because they're not left, but like the MSNBC, CNNs, it's like this traumatic event that happened. It was like a terrorist attack on the country. And so of course they're not going to talk about these guys in a sympathetic fashion. So like their human rights aren't even being considered, I think, in most ways in mainstream media. So they like to talk about it as like it's this traumatic event. I don't think they want to talk about the fact that they're being illegally detained without charge in horrific conditions.
Right. Yeah. No, I don't know what the reason is behind it, but they've definitely got the memo from above. Like, do not talk about this, because believe me when I tell you, we've reached out to media, and we've used people that usually are able to reach these type of media, like Fox, like you just mainstream media, and they just want nothing to do with it. It's like you can't hear a pin drop, type of thing. They don't want anything to do with it. They think it's I guess taboo. I don't know what the reason is why they're not reporting on it, but you would think that any credible journalist would jump on this in a second. I mean, human rights are being violated, constitutional rights are being violated, due process for Americans, being treated by terrorists by their own government. You would think that somebody would want to look into that and investigate it. People are reporting very terrible conditions in the prison. Any reporter should be like, wow, this is my job. I'm supposed to be the fourth arm of the government, and I'm supposed to research this and look into this and make some phone calls. Like none of the above has been done. It's been citizens like me and other people that are the ones that are out there fighting for these people, because nobody else will. I wish they would, because it's tiring and it's time consuming.
No, and you're right. And a lot of these people, they're not ever going to stand up to, for this kind of thing anyway. But this should terrify, and it doesn't even matter your political leanings, you guys. Seriously, it does not matter. It doesn't matter if you're right, left, in between. Doesn't matter. What's happening is wrong. Just on a human level, human rights are being violated. Like Cara said, like this
Right.
is, this is something that everybody should care about, because if they can do it to you at any time. I mean, we've seen it. We just saw a Line 3 protester get convicted, and she is now going to spend 8 years in jail for being a water protector. They're going to do this to everybody across the political spectrum. You have to care about it. Be consistent. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Pasta.
Sorry to jump in. I wore my tie-dye shirt today because I wanted to show some peace, love, and happiness. Aware of what's going on, right now with these people being illegally detained. I was going to mention that water protector.
It is. It's always kind of bad when you're. Yeah, it's okay.
Better. I'm so sorry. I couldn't get it working downstairs again. It just has so many problems in my studio with the Jitsi. But anyway, short story long. We saw the situation, and actually, Misty, they put domestic terrorism on her charge, just to set an example, whatnot. So it doesn't make a difference if it's coming from the left or the right. This woman was part of the resistance, and I think people have to realize that we can't play team sports with this anymore. The predator class, which we call, some of you people call the elites out there, we call them the predator class. They don't care what ism you follow. capitalism, communism, socialism. Anybody who speaks out in dissent against the imperialistic state is going to be punished. And just like what they're doing to these people right now, illegally detaining from 6 months for breaking and entering, if at best. I don't even think it was that. I think they were let in, maybe a little ruckus, whatnot. I mean, obviously some of us were there and we saw what was going on. It's totally disgusting. Followed up with this water protector who's now getting a slap of 8 years, man. We got to realize we can no longer play team sports. They're coming after all of us.
You're 100% right, Pasta. And I mean, go ahead, Andrew.
Yep.
Because
one of the DVEs.
Sorry.
DVEs.
Yeah, because they just recently released this, and I don't know if Cara's had a chance to read it over yet or not. But it literally frames out every political position you could possibly have.
Even vegans.
And there's even.
I have to see this. You have to send this. To
okay.
Me.
But can you screen share it, Andrew? Can you pull it up? Okay. It literally is, Cara. It's hilarious because it's like I don't know, like maybe 5 different categories of kind of specific kinds of people, and then there's like this other category where it's like everybody we didn't say already. This is you, and you're going to also be considered a DVE, a domestic violent extremist.
Wow. And this is released by the Justice Department.
It was the Department of Homeland Security released this. Maybe like 2 weeks ago, guys? Maybe something like that. Yeah, it's
what we've been saying the whole time. You know, they're trying to use this quote unquote white supremacist thing to get everybody because they know everyone's going to say, "Oh, well, we are against white supremacy, so get them." Not unlike they're just ushering in tyranny on themselves, and there's going to be nobody left to stick up for them. You know, in the end. So
no, that's
the same thing on the other side and go, "Oh, they're communists."
Yeah,
we got to get the communists.
Or it's Antifa. They're out of control. They're thugs. And it's we're being played. We're all being played off of each other. All of us.
There it is.
Okay, can you? There you go.
Cool. Animal rights. Environmental
animal rights. Yeah.
Abortion-related violent extremists, whether you're pro-life or pro-choice, anti-government/anti-authority extremists.
And that's literally if you just don't agree with the government. Like if the government does something you don't like and you express like an opinion about it, that could be considered. Yeah.
If you believe that the U.S. government is purposefully exceeding its constitutional authority and is establishing a totalitarian regime, they consider you a violent extremist, even if you just believe it, regardless.
If you're a Second Amendment person, right there it says oppose many federal and state laws and regulations, particularly those related to firearms ownership.
So this is like the Department of Justice or the Homeland Security is that out?
This is Department of Homeland Security that just brought this out maybe 2 weeks ago. It's dated. I'll pull up the date on YouTube.
Has there ever been out like that before? I mean, is that something new or is there?
No, this is new. This is post January 6th. Yeah. This is what January 6th was about. This is about,
in 2020, they released what is called the National Counterintelligence Strategy 2020 to 2022, where they list public disclosure organizations, hacktivists, and leaktivists in the same line as Al-Qaeda and Al-Nusra, and also politically motivated people. Like just a blanket term of people that like politics are targets of the national security state, according to that document. And then under this one now, they're considering literally everyone a violent extremist if you even go as far as to have a position on abortion.
Right.
Jesus, John Brennan lumped in jihadists with libertarians on national television.
It's a cartoon. Like, they're coming after everybody. Anybody who dares to dissent, anybody who dares to speak against the established narrative. That's, I mean, essentially, that sounds very tinfoil hatty, and people will be like, "Oh, it's ridiculous." No,
it's real.
Yeah, it's what they're doing. It's what they've been doing. I mean, we're going to get Patriot Act 2.0. Joe Biden's going to, I mean, he's Captain Crime Bill. Anybody who thought he was going to be better than Trump is fooling themselves. This guy has a 50-year career of being just an absolute shit stain. He is an authoritarian puke. And, I'm no Trump fan, but Joe Biden is authoritarian really, it's not even Joe Biden. He's just a more malleable puppet for, the whatever you want to call him, the permanent state, the predator class, whatever it is. He's just more malleable, and Trump would occasionally tell the truth, and they didn't like that very much. But yeah, That's what January 6th was. That's what it was all about, really, is another way to exert control.
Like last year, I was so like suspicious. Like, first COVID happened, and the whole summer with the George Floyd unrest, and I'm like, something big is going to happen. There's a third thing that's going to happen. I had a feeling it was going to do with Trump. I didn't think they were going to get him out of office. I really didn't expect that. But January 6th, I mean, I never could have freaking imagined that. Like, I just never could have imagined it. If they say things come in threes. So I really almost like felt that was coming. I just didn't think it was going to be.
I think most of us who are like kind of paying attention felt something was coming.
Yeah.
Myself,
you could feel it in the air almost. And especially I left the morning of January 6th. I was in DC for the Assange extradition hearing, and I had just left, but Pasta was there. But like, even like the days leading up to it, you could feel something happen. Like, people were at the gas stations were talking about it, or like we went to Dunkin' Donuts to get donuts and coffee for the protests. And you could overhear people talking about, this rally or this protest, this Trump thing that was going to be happening in a couple days. And so you could kind of feel it was coming.
Right. I thought that I never would have. I knew they were evil, but I just didn't think so evil as to I really do believe that the government had a lot to do with that day and to usher in all this tyranny, and trick people. I just didn't see that coming.
Well, they took
I believe that, but I didn't think that they would go so far as to just dupe the American public in the way that they have, and that people would buy it. Still, it seems surreal to me.
I think they were counting on it being a lot worse than it really turned out. You know what I'm saying? If you listen to a lot of Whitney Webb's stuff, and Whitney Webb will be on our show on Thursday morning, you kind of saw this coming. And I think that the predator class, or whoever's running this place right now, counted on it being a lot worse than it really is. Even myself, when I was out there, I was like, you see these people who have moved up, there's almost several 100,000 people behind them, and they might just continue to keep on approaching. But what happened is when those people kind of got through, everybody behind them stood back and they refused to go forward. And I'm like, wow, they're not going forth. They're not taking the bait.
Right.
And we saw a lot of evidence. You got that Jaden X guy. Johnny interviewed him in Down Street at a Black Lives Matter rally. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Now he's there on January 6th, acting like a Trumper, egging people on. I got a knife. Let's go. Come on.
Well, the leader of the Proud Boys is a Fed. You know what I mean? Like there's all this. Oath Keepers now we're finding. Yeah.
I've been doing a little investigation on this. So I wouldn't say I'm not an investigative private eye by any means. I do believe that the Oath Keepers definitely had some federal interference. There's all these person ones and person twos that initiated these chats that none of the guys that happen to be in prison right now are even in jail. We're even in those chats. So they have 15 Oath Keepers in there right now for conspiracy. And none of the majority of those guys weren't even in on these chats. And there was person 1, person 2, person 3, and person 4. Or person 10, whatever they call them, literally are the ones in these chats. So those are all federal agents, just like with that Michigan governor thing, where half those guys were federal agents. I really believe that. When it comes to the Proud Boys, I know a lot of Proud Boys, just because of the rallies up here in New York, they're always here. I don't think, I know Enrique had cooperated with the federal government in the past, but I don't think he was involved on the federal level in this with January 6th. That's just my opinion. Just because I kind of have gotten to know him, and I don't see that. He was I think he had worked with the federal government like 10 years ago, having to do with something totally separate. But I don't know if there's infiltration in that group in any other ways. But I'm pretty certain that when it comes to the Oath Keepers, there's 100% infiltration, and I've heard that from very reliable sources. It's just a matter of proving that, because that changes the whole narrative about January 6th. If there was federal entrapment, that changes the whole day, the story of the whole day, and people need to know that. And the January 6th Commission is not going to show that in any light. Nancy Pelosi is not trying to incriminate herself, obviously. They're going to point evidence away from themselves. So nothing of truthful nature is going to come out of January 6th committee or whatever they're calling it. That's why I say it's up to the people like us to do our own January 6th Commission. All of us together, investigate, compile video, ask questions, dig deeper, and something's going to hit. Like somebody's going to turn over a stone that can't be denied. It's going to be an independent journalist, I think, or somebody is going to hit on something that's going to change the tune, and that's going to, shed some light on what really happened that day. I really have faith in that. I do think that the truth will come out.
Don't they have a bunch of footage that they haven't? Sorry, guys. Don't they have a bunch of footage that hasn't been released yet and stuff? I keep hearing people talk about these things.
There's like. 46,000 hours or something crazy like that. You know,
Wow.
all the security footage from the side of the buildings, just tons of stuff they compiled that they will not release for whatever the reason. They're making up all these excuses, like they, you know, whatever it is, the reasons. And a lot of this footage is stuff that has to do with these trials of these guys that are being held and detained in Washington D.C. right now. So they're actually have the nerve to start offering them plea deals before they've even shown them the discovery. And before they've even shown them the evidence against them, they're like, oh, we're going to offer you a 7-year plea deal. And also you're going to recant everything you said about certain situations. And they haven't even showed him the discovery of what proof they have that he did this crime.
Could you talk a little bit more about them trying to force people to recant statements?
That's
because to me that's one of the scariest things, and it's something that I learned about from you over the weekend when we did the Institute stream together.
Yeah, they've not offered many plea deals yet. I think they're going to start to because I don't think they want this to go to trial, but and a lot of the guys are saying they're not going to take it. They're not going to take plea deals because they want this to go to trial. They want the truth to come out. That will be the only way that the truth will come out is in a trial, because the January 6th Commission is obviously not going to tell the truth. So there's a case I heard of from one of the wives of one of the gentlemen that they offered him a 5 to 7 year jail time for throwing. I'm not going to get into the details of the case actually, because I shouldn't do that. But one of the conditions was that he recant things that he said. I guess, regarding Capitol Police behavior that day, National Guard behavior, things about Trump and of that nature. So whatever he said that they found to be offensive, that he recant, whatever that means. I don't even know what that means. And they're not taking the plea deal regardless, because 7 years is ridiculous. And I don't think they want to recant anything. But this is like what we're dealing with right now. I'm sure you all heard of the woman who was forced to do a re-education class to show the judge that she was, good enough to come out of, to not have to go into jail or something like that. So it's like, it's very scary. This is stuff that you read about in like a dystopian novel, not something that you would think that would ever happen in 2021 in the United States of America.
And I think it's absolutely
that shit is
horrifying.
scary. Andrew, you're muted.
The list goes on and on and on of stuff that I hear. It's like I'm actually like almost it's tiring. It's tiring to like to investigate this stuff, to talk to these guys. They're using, I think they're trying to entrap them by giving them access to a pad and phone calls when they're treating them, other than that, like third world prisoners, listening in on their calls, obviously saving all their text messages, trying to find out who they're talking to, trying to arrest more people, trying to use their words against them. So, it's just terrible what they're doing. They're painting these guys with one big wide brush. Some of them literally have no violent crime. Some of them literally just walked in.
Well,
they're being labeled as terrorists. They were protesters. I mean, did the protests maybe get out of control because thanks to probably the cops, allowing people to get in and from it being infiltrated?
Right.
Sure.
People felt betrayed that day. Like, I'm going to just tell you, I did too. A lot of these people are quote unquote back the blue. People, law enforcement people. Then they get there that day, and oh my God, like law enforcement has turned on them, and they were like, I never saw so many like grown men looking so betrayed.
Yes.
Like,
you know what they were saying? Come on, Blue, we stood by you.
Right.
Come on,
and
Blue.
Like,
and they couldn't believe it. And we were like, for us who've been out to all types of rallies.
Yeah, that made us happy.
And we're like, oh, now you're late to the party.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
that they're tear gassing you. They're going to defend the state no matter what, guys.
Yes,
So
they are
I had a
violence
call
workers
with
for
Alex
the state.
Hill.
Always have been. They've never been on your side. They just gave.
When they come for your guns.
From the left.
Hello.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, I have a picture that like I feel like I never like put it out, but I feel like it could win a National Geographic thing. It was like the back of two guys' hats with the Trump MAGA hat facing off with two cops. I'm like, I never thought I would see this. Like, it was so trippy. Like, they were furious, and the cops and they were just face to face, and I took it kind of from an angle, and I'm like, this is like the craziest thing I've ever.
The cops don't give a shit about you.
But here's the thing too. Despite all that going on, I still saw a lot of, I use the term patriots, standing up next to the cops, telling people, don't do this. Don't, even when after the tear gas came out, I saw you wouldn't see that like at the other rallies we went to. Once the first canister of tear gas, it was like motherfuckers,
it's game on. It's on.
These guys were like, please don't take the bait. Don't do this. Don't. And that's why we just felt like it was like they were trying to reel them in, like, all right, get these people to just lose their cool.
Right. It was
and
a mix
go.
of emotion. Like, it was one of the most emotional days. I've never seen grown people so emotional. Like I said, people were crying.
I couldn't
People
believe
were
it.
screaming. People were in shock. People were betrayed. And now all that got completely missed by the media. All they could talk about is this insurrection that never happened. And like they didn't like turn to the human story of it. Like I literally could cry thinking about like what I saw that day of people like just like the emotion that was running through the crowd. And literally that will never ever be told. That story will never be told. All that's told is, oh, they tried to take over the government. They tried to overthrow,
Nope.
Nancy Pelosi
Such
with
a lie.
freaking zip ties. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like there wasn't even one gun in there.
Yeah.
So I
Not-
mean,
we
Well,
didn't
there
see a
was,
single
and
weapon.
it was used to kill a protester.
To
That's
kill a
Yeah.
protester. Yeah.
Exactly. We talked to at least a couple hundred people that day, and I was really excited to go to that rally. Obviously, we had the Assange rally and the Force to Vote rally, but I was there to educate a lot of people on elections, and I talked to a lot of people who were just like, open to understanding what was going on. And we saw aunts, uncles, grandpas, newborn babies, mothers,
Right.
fathers, whatnot. The majority of the people just thought the election was not fair, and that's why they were there. That's the only reason why. That's the majority of the reason they were there. And Andrew, as you know, we couldn't even film the shit because they were jamming our systems and we couldn't even live stream.
yeah, no, that was crazy. The phones weren't working. Anything.
Well, it's because there was a 300,000-ish person election integrity rally, right? Because that's what Trump had. He
That's
had
what it was.
a bunch of people there just wanting evidence and wanting proof, right? And while that proof was being read onto the House floor, the insurrection started. Like, while they were presenting evidence into Congress is when all of this shit started happening, which to me was the biggest, like...
Yeah, well, and the reason why they jammed your signals is because they didn't want live stream evidence. They wanted to be able to construct the narrative afterwards. So they didn't want people to be able to live stream because then it's hard to refute live footage.
Right.
And so they wanted to be able to control the narrative. So if they jam the signals and nobody can live stream, then they control the narrative and they can do whatever they want and put whatever clips that they want, edit stuff the way that they want. They took pasta and fees videos and that's what that was all about.
Do we have any news on what happened to the two guys who were charged with killing Officer Sidnick? By any chance, do you know any of them? Are they still detained? Whatnot? Because they used our video, which said get the bear mace.
I don't know, Cara. Do you know
Cara.
if the
Say it again, if what? Because I didn't hear you.
The two guys that were charged with assaulting Officer Sidnick? The two guys that they built the whole narrative on.
Right. They're
the
still
bear
in
mace.
there. Yeah,
they're
they
still in
being held.
I'm pretty sure they are. Yeah.
Can you double check on that?
I'll find out about that. Yeah, I was looking. It's like I'm reading so much. I never thought I would learn so much about this stuff. Yeah, they're there.
We get it. We know a lot about
They
Assange
say,
that we didn't think we would know.
Right, and they say that that guy didn't even die from causes from the.
Yeah, no, he had like a heart attack or something, didn't he? A couple days later.
So it's disturbing, and there's
2 days later.
I'm not trying to spread like any
Stroke.
type of false information, but there is a lot of people saying that there was a sixth person that died that day and that nobody reported on. And I was hearing stuff, and there was I do remember hearing it being a person in the crowd that there was a girl that got shot with a rubber bullet who was a teenager and she was either killed or injured. And then I didn't hear of anything about that on the news. And then there's people are saying there was yet another person that fell. The cops actually pushed off of a balcony and died. So I don't know. I think that those deaths need to be looked into more. So nobody ever did any deep investigation or reporting on them as to how someone had a heart attack. One man had a heart attack. One man had a stroke. They were both they weren't old men or by any means they were healthy. And somehow they had a mysterious heart attack and a stroke at what was essentially like a Trump rally. They weren't anywhere near the Capitol. They were on the sidewalk. It wasn't like they were inside where they were around all the excitement. How did they, somebody said they saw one guy get hit with the, when they were shooting these like canisters with tear gas and stuff, that he got hit with that and that's how he died. That these are just things that you hear, but that should be investigated. Like if you Google the people that died that day, they just did these like really broad brush stories. They died of natural causes. No real investigation was done whatsoever. I think that there's some more that it was that they were by cops. That's what I think. That's just my personal opinion, that at least one or two of those deaths that they're saying were natural causes were not natural causes. I can't prove it. I don't know. I'm just speculating as a human being and what makes sense in my mind. I just can't believe nobody's looked into it. Like nobody's really investigated it and nobody cares to. They're like, oh, they were insurrectionists. They deserve to die. Like Ashley Babbitt deserved.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard that from people who claim to be leftists who are like, yeah, she
Hey,
deserved to die. Are you kidding me right
I
now?
blocked
friends
a
of mine
friend for
said
that.
that. Friends
Yeah.
of mine have
Yeah.
said that, and I was like,
Yeah.
what if it was me? Like, would you guys think I
It's
deserve to die?
disgusting. It's
Nobody
disgusting.
deserves to die for,
So many people and
It's
good
disgusting.
people, like what
Yeah.
I would call good people, have said that, and I'm like, you guys are really brainwashed. The media has done its job because
Oh,
you
yeah.
and Hollywood has done its job because you are so stupid and you really believe that. It's disgusting. Like I would never say that about like anybody that got shot. Oh, she deserved to die for climbing in a window. Give me a break. She made a
No.
mistake, you know. Whatever.
Yeah, just got carried away in the moment and
Right,
you deserve to
of
die
course.
for that?
Right,
Like, that's
right.
just ridiculous.
Like
It's really
complete
disturbing.
bad call by that Capitol police officer who clearly doesn't know how to react. Who choked at the moment or whatever for whatever the reason he shot her in cold blood. And nobody's saying anything about that. You know, how
Yeah.
come the investigation hasn't been done about that? I mean, it's disgusting. It's disturbing. And then people, on the left are like, well, I don't care. And I'm not saying all people, but then when that happens, to someone on, one of your activists or, then you're going to say, oh, this is a problem. And we're going to say, oh, well, now then on the right, we're going to say, well, we don't care because it's you. And
There's
then-
no consistency.
Right,
Yeah.
it turns into
The,
this
the
whole
people who are
freaking-
cheering, all cops are bastards. I don't care that she died. She deserved to die.
Yeah. There's so much hypocrisy. It's really disgusting.
Right. People
It
just
sucks.
realize that like that we're not each other's enemy and that there's something else out there that is the enemy, but it's not each other. And they're pitting us against each other, and then we're cheering on each other's freaking death. It's ridiculous,
It is ridiculous. You're
But I
absolutely
gotta
right.
get going, you guys. I'm
Yeah.
so-
Thanks for coming on. Do you want to tell everybody where they can find
Yeah,
you so they
I
can
do.
follow your
Thank you-
work?
Thank you for everything you do for Julian Assange, because I think that is one of the most messed up things in all of human history. I think, like, the one real journalist in my lifetime, the person that was dedicated to telling the truth and letting people judge it for themselves by just putting out records. I mean, isn't it insane that he's freaking in jail, like, and being persecuted in the way? Like, I don't even know if he, like, is he mentally well right now? Like, how
No.
could he be? Right, exactly. And I'm
There
just
was a point about
Go-
18 months ago where Julian couldn't even really remember or orate.
He had a
like,
difficult
speak his own
time
name.
answering
could
questions.
I can
Yeah.
imagine, and I feel so bad for him, and I would do anything I could to help him. I just don't even know what to do to help this guy. I feel so bad for him. So I really was hoping Trump would pardon him. I had a feeling he wouldn't because the deep state is just too deep, and they weren't going to let him do that. I know that they were making a lot of threats to him, but I was really hoping that he would. I'm a big fan of Pamela Anderson just because of how much she was fighting for Julian Assange. I know she was upset when he didn't get out. But if you guys want to go to citizensapp.com, it's citizensapp.us. citizensapp.us. Please go there and you can find out information on any events we're doing on all the political prisoners. Really important. Also, they really thrive on getting mail. Patriot Mailbag, we're working with them. So if you go to our website, there's a link, or there will be soon where people could write them, which is really important for them to keep their sanity, and ways that you could support their families so that they don't take these crazy plea deals, and that they take this to trial and the truth does come out. So please go to citizensapp.com. You can follow me at Cara, Castronuova. I constantly have been updating lately. And the next rally is in New York City on the 25th in Foley Square. It's an awareness rally. Please come. And if you know people in New York, please go. And it's going to be aired live on the Pete Santilli show, live streamed around the country. There's also a DC rally on the 17th that I'm going to be at the jail. So that's on the 17th at DC jail. So I encourage everybody to go there as well.
Cool.
Cara,
Thank you so much for coming
also-
on.
I just want
Oh.
to say so sorry, Misty.
No, you're
Cara,
fine.
I just love your work. I followed a lot of it too as well. And if you ever need somebody to come on and talk about elections, I'd love to come do that because I know
Okay.
you're all into the mix about what's going on. And
I am.
I think I followed you on Parler before they shut it down.
I did. I know.
So-
Then I don't even know what happened with Parler. Like, happened with all these crazy apps. You know what I mean? It's like the necessary evils of like Twitter, Facebook. Like, I can't stand the fact that I still have accounts, but it's like it's a necessary evil. I hope that goes away.
Yes.
So
Agreed.
thank you
Yeah.
guys for all your hard
Yeah.
work.
Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Bye, everybody.
Talk to you later. Thanks.
Sorry for stepping
Okay.
on your toes, Mindy. I apologize.
It's all right.
Mindy
It's all right,
Moneybags.
Grandma Pasta. Grandma
I got
Pasta.
love
my
the shirt,
combo
buddy.
couch tie-dye.
I do like a
One of a
shirt.
kind. Well, I wanted to show some love for some people I love so much. I hope that we made you proud with the Julian Assange birthday party this week.
Hell yeah, it was
weekend,
awesome.
I made 43 or 44 vegan burgers. And 3 people had 2 burgers and 5 people didn't have a burger. So
Nice.
that's like, we had about close to 50 people show up is what I'm trying to say.
That's
That's
I
awesome.
made a count by the burgers, and that was just like 2 days warning, and it was just a lot of fun, and it was great hearing Glory and Steve get up there, When they come to town, we love to court them. We can't wait until you guys come to town. We haven't had a chance to court Andrew and Misty yet, and we're waiting to do so. So please let us know. But it was just a great time, a great event. It was awesome to meet John and Gabriel Shippen.
Nicest guys. They're the nicest guys. Yeah.
Greatest guys. And just to hear John Shipton talk about Mr. Thorson, who said he's turned turtle and now he's retracted his whole testimony. It was just an amazing weekend and a weekend. And, really, to tell you the truth, though, I really want to see more people get their asses out there for Julian Assange. It was so important that you guys were doing this show today with Cara, because, we just saw this morning, Misty, I think it came out with that water protector who, really she got arrested and then she got charged with, and she got 8 years, and they
8 years
the domestic terrorism label on her to up the sentence because they wanted to make an example out of her.
I hate being right. I hate being right. I hate it. I don't want to be right about these things, you guys. I really don't. And that's not like me bragging like I was right, because I'm not the only one. Pasta and Fee got it right. Steve's been getting it right. There are lots of people who have been trying to warn y'all that this is what's happening. And we've been saying first they came for Assange, and this is really what it is. This is about squashing dissent, period, end of story. They don't want any dissenting narrative. They don't want you to have your own viewpoints or opinions. They don't want you to have access to information. They don't want you to be able to educate yourselves. And they're cracking down across the board. They don't want you to protest. They don't want you to redress your government. They don't want any of that stuff. And they've been chipping away at it for decades, really. But over the past 10 or 15 years, it has ramped up exponentially. Obama really just put that shit into high gear, and then Trump just ran with it. And now we have fucking Biden, who is, Captain Crime Bill, King Authoritarian douche canoe, who's also senile and is like just a complete muppet to the people in power. Yeah. And it's not Joe Biden. Joe Biden's not making these decisions. It has nothing to do with him. He is just the face of the machine. That's what we're up against. Way more than just Joe Biden. And the shit's scary. The fact that you can be like just a water protector and get 8 years and a domestic terrorism label put on you for wanting to protect your water. That's nuts that we're at that point. And here we are.
It was too many people, though, too, as well. And they have to get this through their mind. And that's the problem with the right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't say you have to be like the Black Lives Matter protesters and the Antifa people who go out there, which, by the way, I didn't even get a chance to talk about my opinions about Antifa, because I've never, ever been crazy about them, because I thought it was more of a tactic. And it's a tactic that above anyone's can allow the deep state to operate in secrecy and kind of frame, what they're trying to do on a certain side, right? You know what I'm saying? Like that, anybody can dress up in black and not be seen, and even work. He can be a CIA agent and start.
It happens all the time.
And then the media goes, "Oh, Antifa's doing this, Antifa's doing that." You know what I'm saying?
Look at their thugs. Look, they're burning down buildings. We've seen it. We've got they've been caught on camera. Cops have been caught on camera, like in their black blocs, starting fires and shit. And then people are like, "What the hell are you doing?" They've been busted on camera. This happens all the time. Yeah, all the time. There are infiltrators everywhere. So everybody who's freaking out about Medicare for all, the marches for Medicare for all, fuck off. This is going to happen. It's going to happen every single time. And the fact that you're hyperventilating about it now is very telling. It's just, you're telling on yourselves. Calm the fuck down. Infiltrators are going to happen, especially in any kind of a movement where power structures are challenged. Yeah, well, and that's just an unfortunate fact.
People got to watch out for the cops those days too, as well, when they go out there too, as well, and see how they're going to break down things and everything. But that was what I was trying to allude to too, as well, is that these Trumpers had their love fest with the police officers, which once again, you don't have to be like all cops are bastards, they deserve to die, we hate, you know what I'm saying, and start shit. But to sit there and praise them, they're like this entity of like greatness and stuff. No, they're going to serve the fucking state no matter who it is. And they're going to come arrest all of us across the board. And if you're one of those people, like you say, you're scared, they're going to come for your guns. Well, these are the people who are going to come for your guns. So, we have to realize the demonization by both sides. I often talk about DeSantis right now because he's done some great bills out there. That he has an election integrity bill. Is that he didn't go as far as he needs to go, but he did go in some positive ways. He has the censorship bill, right? Like he's going to attempt to fine Google, Facebook, and all these tech monopolies for unlawfully censoring people. That's great. But then he comes out and he promotes and he stands by this anti-protest bill in which he doubles the sentences for people pushing down statues, or if, how they can classify this as a riot, like up to a small amount of people, essentially stopping the protest before it even starts and hit people with some severe penalties. people have to pay attention to that. And a lot of people on the right cheered on because they go, oh, Black Lives Matters and Antifa's getting what they deserve. No, they might be wrong, but don't sit there and fucking think it's okay for them to do this anti-fucking civil liberty bullshit, and you're going to cheer it on, and then you're going to
because you don't agree with somebody. Yeah, I don't agree with what those people are protesting, so I'm going to go ahead and cheer on this anti-protest stuff. That is the most self-defeating, infantile bullshit I've ever heard of. You think it's not going to come for you?
Well,
like, are you really that naive?
Like, you have, like, the property libertarian right, like the people who build their lives based on the idea of private property, not willing to defend a water protector, right? Like someone that's like, hey, this is my property. I have the right to say no to this pipeline. But then the libertarians just are nowhere to be found for that. And that
because they think of it as a private company. This company, there should be no regulations. This corporation wants to put a pipeline through this land, so they should be able to. And it's this whole,
well, you have like the Bundy Ranch. I don't know if you know about that. It was there's lots of drama. There's lots of criticisms, but a dude literally died because he was trying to stop the federal government from taking his land. Like, it's the same thing as the people that were getting fucked up in Minnewachuny back in 2016. It's just people trying to defend their land from foreign occupation, whether it's a corporation or a federal government. So, like, it's just, it breaks my heart to have an entire cast of property-loving people not willing to defend people's property because insert reason.
I got to tell you, though, Andrew, the video that really still moves me the most to this day, and not moves me, but it shines a light on situations. Like, I thought after January 6th and this whole domestic terrorism shit that a lot of Trumpers would learn. And when you got involved with the shoe on the head, remember when you ended up in the video and stuff like that? It was so like the first part of the video, the day before on January 5th and stuff, it was so awesome to see all these Trumpers going, no, you shouldn't go to jail if you burn the flag. No, you shouldn't. But then the very next day comes around on January 6th, and you still have people going, oh, yeah, you should go to jail for a year. Oh, you should be, you know what I'm saying? It's like they still don't fucking get it, and they still don't learn about how important it is to protect our civil liberties across the goddamn board. And, you know, I don't mean to call out my mom to this day, and my mom was like, she can't believe what's going on with the censorship, and she thinks it's awful. But then I asked her the other day, and I said, well, Mom, do you still think that you should go to jail for a year for burning the flag? Oh, yes. I'm like,
that's censorship, Mom.
Hey, you know,
you're such a dork.
Not the biggest fan of hers, but she does some good work.
I was muted. I said I love the interview with Shu more than the interview with Tucker Carlson, and it's still the background on my phone because Shu, like, she's awesome. But no, I agree. Like, people don't understand what a principle is and what something you cherish should also be cherished when it's someone else that it's being taken from. Because that's how human rights work. It's literally, if they can do it to them, they can do it to you, and they make you okay with it happening to this other group, so that you will then
be weak when they come for you.
Right.
And you will have no defense against it. It's like Julian says all the time, and I'm paraphrasing here, but every time we witness an injustice and we don't act, we train ourselves to not be able to fight back and to not to be able to defend ourselves and the people that we love. And so every time that you witness an injustice and you don't speak out against it, it's like you're playing an emotional manipulation on yourself, and you're training yourself to not fight back about against these things when they happen, and especially when they happen to you. You should care about it when it happens to anybody. I mean, it drives me nuts, Pasta, and I know you agree with this because I've heard you and Fee talk about it on the show all the time. There's no consistency. Yeah. There is no, like, people, if their team does it, it's fine. It's fine. They'll defend it to the death. But the second somebody else on the other team does it, it's the worst thing that ever happened. It's a tragedy. We have to talk about it for a month, and it's just so frustrating.
But, you know, it was even more frustrating seeing the nationalism on 4th of July and some of the people speaking out like, this is the worst thing that could happen, whatnot. And then going back to the kneeling of the friggin', you know what I'm saying, of the Colin Kaepernick bullshit and stuff. And it's like, oh, my God, like, guys, come on. Really, to tell you the truth, can you get it together? But that's why it's important that we do these shows, that we do these things. I just talked about me having a parlor, right? I mean, I was not a big parlor guy. And even on my description, it was like, hey, man, I'm a leftist libertarian here to talk with people who disagree with me, who have different opinions, but to possibly build some bridges rather than blow it all down.
Why do you love Nazis, Pasta?
I don't love Nazis, but I would love to convince a Nazi that hate is not right. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
So-
I'd like to have that opportunity to say
How
that you're
dare
wrong.
you? That's so terrible of you to want to change people's opinions and have a conversation and maybe, move our society in a better direction. You're such an
Well,
asshole.
Well, what's the worst thing you can do is let Nazis continue to talk to only other Nazis. You're never going to
Right.
change anything. It's going to get worse.
But I don't know
You know
if you
what I'm
know
saying?
this. If you ignore a problem, it goes away. And so that's how that works.
Yes.
If we just ignore racism and bigotry and hate, it'll just go away. It's fine. It's
Out of
totally
sight,
fine.
out of mind.
Right. Oh, it's so frustrating. We talked to I did like a marathon interview earlier today with Unapologetic, Dontel from Unapologetic.
Oh, I just praised him on the show the other
I
day.
love
I
him.
sent him $10, $5 for 2 different tweets I love.
Yeah.
He's amazing. I'm going to go watch that interview.
Yeah, I love him. He is great. He doesn't get near as much attention as he should. But he's really hard to nail down. Like we interviewed him months ago, right? And his audio was he has former Misty internet, like terrible internet, right? And so he kept dropping, like he kept freezing up, and so it was really terrible. It was a great conversation, but it was so like just glitchy and all, so we couldn't post it. And it's taken me months to get him back on finally. But we did a marathon interview with him, like 3 hours. And we talked about this and about how there's no consistency and people it's fine when my team does it. It's not okay when their team does it. And that's the best way that they keep us divided is to, it's
you
just
remember
so
the Bud Light
frustrating.
man?
Yeah.
The Bud Light guy, I love you, man.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, you're not getting my Bud Light. Like I put that on the tweet he did because he just said it. He was like, I hate the way these Democrats are coming out and acting like they're the beacon of light, like they're the ones for truth and justice, fighting for fair elections. He's like, both sides work for the oligarch, and they don't give a damn about what the common people have to say or what they think, who they want to vote in. I mean, he's just got some great fire stuff, but that really just hit it on the nose, and people have to understand that we're under attack, all of us, and we still have a lot of work to do. Because the deep state, the predator class, whoever's made these narratives out there, they've got people biting on both sides. We obviously see the left still buying into January 6th, still with the cancel culture. You can't talk to this person. But we also see the right kind of getting this whole kind of like stamping it on fucking the CDC of China and red communism. And then kind of conflating a lot of people as just being like hardcore socialist, communist, Marxist.
Yeah, Fee actually mentioned that.
Yeah.
Fee mentioned that on, I think she did a show, it was just her, yesterday. Okay.
Yeah.
And she was talking about that, how people on the right consider, would think of Fiorella and AOC as both leftists. And those two people couldn't be more different. But that's like, that they've just it's like this broad brush that they paint anybody who's to the left of, I don't know, George Bush or something, as like Nancy Pelosi is like, they would equate that to AOC even, or to Fiorella. And and that's just the way way that they've been kind of brainwashed into thinking that you can just paint everybody with a broad brush. And we're all the same.
And what are we, I'm sorry, Andrew, if you had something to say. I know I'm speaking a lot. Let me know.
No, I was reading the chat. I was just reading what people were saying.
Well, I mean, this whole thing about the ideologies that they're just hardcore communist Marxist kind of group, Black Lives Matter. When you go out there, you talk to a lot of people, don't even know what the definition of communist is.
Right.
All they know is they see there's an injustice out there and they want it fixed. And now they're being lumped. And most of us, we talk about I think Fee describes herself as an ANCOM, right? Which is an anarcho-communist, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, she's open to talk about ideologies. Whatnot. I call myself a leftist libertarian. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not you can't pigeonhole us and whatnot. And I think Andrew had the best suggestion a long time ago, and I say it all the time. Well, what we have to do is we get to get the guillotine out first, take care of all these predator class, and then we can get in a room and decide what we want, what's best for us, and stop trying to put people in a corner and label them and put them in a box.
Yes. I'm not box shaped.
Yeah.
I'm not shaped like a box. Don't try to put me in your stupid box. I don't want to be in your box.
Yes.
I hate labels. I don't want to don't label me. I'm not an ANCOM. I'm not a libertarian. I don't want any of those labels. I want none of them. I want nothing to do with it. There's not any one ideology that I believe with 100%. There's not any one person I believe with 100%. If I took the little quadrant thing, I'm probably I'm way down in the bottom left-hand corner. Right. Yeah. But I'm willing to talk to just about anybody we can compromise, we can have conversations, but we can't do any of that until we deal with the problem, which is the system. And people are wanting to fight about economic theory, and we can't even begin to have that conversation. First of all, as Julian Assange says, none of your political theories are ever going to make any sense until we're dealing with the truth. And we don't have the truth. We're not dealing with the truth. And so we have to deal with the system that has us all imprisoned and that is fucking us all over. I mean, killing us, really. And once we deal with that, then we can bicker about the dumb, and it's not dumb. Economic theory and all that stuff is worthy, but we can have those debates later. First we need to come together because we need the numbers to deal with the level of power that we're up against. Period. End of story. These are very, very powerful people. They're very wealthy. They have endless resources. They will stop at nothing. And that's what we're up against. So we need numbers.
About you.
No.
George Carlin, they don't give a fuck about you. And I had this argument with my conservative friend who says, we don't need to change the system. And it's like, I don't know. Like, it really needs some major tweaking and stuff like that. And then we go over the numbers and we talk about certain things. And he makes a lot of great points and stuff, but it doesn't make a difference what ism you are all about. Like we said, the predator class doesn't care. They're after and they're coming for all of us, and we all have to come together, and we have to take care of corruption first.
It's the top authoritarian third versus the bottom 2/3 of society. Not that that's a reflection of the people, but of the political spectrum, because you have authoritarian, libertarian, liberal, conservative, right? And they force people into these camps on the side, your leftist and rightist, when the people in that top 2% of political theory, like the literal minority of the world, the ultra wealthy authoritarian elite, are trying to divide left and right so they can just take top down control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean we're dealing with fascism. People get really pissy when I call Joe Biden a fascist. He's a fucking fascist. He's a very subdued fascist. He's very good. The United States is very good at putting the friendly face on fascism. We've been doing it for a very long time. But fascists, the fascists didn't lose the war. They were just hired by the United States.
Yeah.
And
True.
that's what we're up against. And we've let it devolve to such an extreme that we are now in a really dangerous situation. I mean, I hate being like Debbie Downer, but that's real talk. Like, we are really up against some legit psychopaths who will take us all out without a second thought.
People are debating what those psychopaths are. Some people even think they might be aliens. Some people might think it's whatever, or cultists.
Whatever you think, they're your enemy.
They are, and we have to point them out for who they are. But when we do talk about fascism, Benito Mussolini, being the fact that I'm 61% Italian, Southern Italian, I don't know if you guys know that. I know Benito Mussolini's definition of fascism was when the state merges with the corporations. Well, luckily we have guys like Robbie Receipts and people out there that will show us that Joe Biden got 16 million from Silicon Valley, where Trump got less than $1 million. Now, once again, guys, I still believe that Trump's part of this whole kabuki theater that we're seeing played out in front of our eyes. The fact that he wouldn't pardon Julian Assange, and a lot of his language, too, as well, is very tribal to keep people on both sides. The radical left, you know what I'm saying? Bullshit. But, I mean, Joe Biden merged with the fucking corporations, that being the tech giants. And they put him in charge. I don't know if you guys know this, but Madhur Falia today got taken. He didn't get taken down. He got demonetized
for a video, a 7-year-old video. It's a 7-year-old video. They went back and found. Private. Yeah. And this is not the first time that's happened to him. He's gotten shit taken down that wasn't even published. Like, you can just put stuff in on your YouTube page and not publish it yet. And it wasn't even published yet. And they took it down or something. And he's like, wait, that's like a thought crime. He hadn't even published it yet. And they're like, nope, you can't have that thought.
It's
and
a
that's
thought crime.
Yeah, that's scary.
Scary.
That's scary shit that they have that level of power.
Bernie Sanders on all this censorship here.
He's a fan of it. That's what's up. Like, people keep asking me why the squad won't speak up for Julian Assange. It's because they're authoritarians, fam. They don't give a shit about censorship. They've been cheering it on the whole time. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez sent out a mass email to her horde to go and mass report trolls, who she called trolls on the internet, who were saying mean things about her. That's some authoritarian shit. Yes.
The very next day, we got all of us. 6 of us in one shot taken down. Boom.
That is some authoritarian shit.
Well,
she is not your friend.
So the thing that bothers me, right? I have personal beef with AOC, like, to be fair, but the thing that bothers me is the fucking Among Us bullshit, right?
Yeah.
So she infiltrated gaming culture in a sense and started doing Among Us streams, right? And encouraging her supporters, like, hey, you might be able to play with me. Come play Among Us. And what that game does is it introduces a cultural language of suspicion without evidence. Inherently, where you take the rogue crowd belief, you point to people and say they're sus, you shoot them into outer space, and when they were the wrong person, who the fuck cares? right? So
Whoops-a-daisy.
well, and then it goes as far as to she sends the Capitol Police to harass people.
Yes.
Literally, a dude put a tweet out that's like, "Hey, she's double talking about Israel right now." And then somehow that's a call to fucking violence. Like, no, that's a call to not fucking fund her next goddamn political campaign. Like,
Because
that's
she
what
turned
that call
back
is. So
on
then,
Palestinians. So
Yep.
fuck
And then
her.
they send the
How
fucking
about-
police because a dude put a video out calling her out on her trash.
Did you see the Facebook video about the, and this one worked a lot too, and I couldn't believe it worked. Like I caught it right away. I was like, oh Jesus, with the boyfriend who goes in with the girl to the restaurant, and she looks like she's under distress, and she slips a napkin to the waiter, and the waiter slips the napkin. It says "Help me" to the manager, and then all of a sudden the cops show up and whisk the guy kind of off, whatnot, and like it was just like one of those things. Like, they made sure that like he had a bunch of like suspicious like behavior again for you to say it's okay, and then the girl's hugging the waitress like it's all right and it's okay. The guy got dragged off, and like they made the guy seem like a real asshole douchebag and stuff. I'm like, but I was like, what made this fucking moment in time a little bit different than anybody else? I mean, where was she before she went on this date with this dude? You know what I'm saying? Like, and where's she going now and stuff? Like, it just was one of those things that it just, and it was a white dude. You know what I'm saying? A total meathead, make him look like a jerk off. And you should take a look at those videos because the subliminal messages in those videos are quite fucking scary. You know
Well, I mean, they're
And
now
they do a really
asking
good
us.
job at it.
Yeah, well, they're now asking us to report any extreme friends and family members. Are you joking? I mean, but they've been trying to kind of normalize snitch culture for a very long time. I mean, they did it with January 6th. The FBI, who has like the best facial recognition software on planet Earth, probably, is out there like, oh, can you identify this person? Fuck you, identify him yourself. You know what I mean? But people will snitch on their neighbors. They will absolutely turn their neighbors in. And they want to know who those people are. They want to know who are the people who are willing to turn their neighbors in for some dumb shit. And that's what all of this is about. That's what the whole Among Us thing is. It's like, let's learn to like snitch, suspect everybody and snitch on our neighbors. You know what I mean?
1984, right?
Yeah.
Is that what they want? 1984. At the end of the day, that's the biggest message I got, is that they want to make sure they turn the people on each other. Right when he's about to get the rats to go eat off his face. Oh, she did it. Oh, it was her. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, oh, dude, it's like that is the whole thing. They want to make sure they turn people against each other, and they're doing a good job at it. Whitney Webb said that she's like, they're probably laughing like, haha, it's so easy to divide you guys. And
it's really so frustrating too, because for somebody like, and I'm not like big upping myself, but like, I think for people who do recognize what's going on, it's really frustrating because it's happening right in front of us. Yeah. And we're trying to tell people, this is what's happening. They're trying to divide you. They're trying to get you fighting amongst yourselves. They'd much rather there be a civil war than a war, like a class war. And that's what they would rather have. They want us to take each other out, because then they don't have to do it. And then we won't come after them if they, start taking us all out. So they want us to do it to each other.
It allows them to hold on to power too.
Yeah,
if they keep us divided, it allows them to hold on to power. So that's why, like, right now, like I said, like the thing about it is too, when it comes to the right, they have that whole China scare. That's why I'm almost afraid, like, a lot of this shit happened on purpose, that Donald Trump is going to come back, and then it's going to be another, like, blasting from the right, and it's going to be justified from all this shit treatment from these fucking liberals, these neoliberals that are in office right now, and all the shitty things that they're doing, that at the end of the day, they both are all a bunch of imperialist warmongers that just want to control people down below. Hey, Donald Trump was all a part of this fucking shit. Operation Warp Speed, the fuck out of here, you jerk off. And then the fact that he's also saying that Bitcoin is a scam, and he refused to.
He's friends with the Clintons. His daughter was vacationing with Joe Biden's granddaughter. Like, they don't hate each other. They're all owned and operated by the exact same people. They go to the same places for vacation. They go to the same dinner parties. They don't hate each other. I call it a soap opera with psychopaths. It's a show. They're putting on a show. They're actors. They're not even the ones like controlling things or like pulling the levers of power. They just do as they're told. Their donors and the corporate overlords tell them what to do, what bills to pass, what bills to not pass, what to say. Justin Amash even said in an interview with somebody, I forget who, that a lot of these congressional hearings that you see, all of it's scripted. They're handed like a script before you go give your big dramatic speech like AOC does. A lot of that shit's scripted. A lot of the dinners and stuff are scripted. All of this, it's all a show. It's a reality show that you're watching as they kill you.
Yeah. And I'm gonna quote the worst Godfather really quick, Andrew, and I'll give it over to you, because this is what I also believe. And our enemy has not yet revealed himself or herself. Like, I believe these people are people that we don't even know their names.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I'm
Well, they
saying?
use
They're tied.
Well, some of us know their
personalities
names.
like AOC to be a
Some of them.
target.
Yeah.
Like AOC is no different than Alex Jones, right? So when she comes out with something that the left is supposed to accept and the right is supposed to criticize, it gets scripted and given to her. Marjorie Taylor Greene and Alex Jones are literally the other way around. But to the point of Donald Trump will come back and like that whole idea, I think he will probably try. But I think it's like a pressure relief or like a steam valve, right? So if the right wing gets too rowdy, if there's too much, I don't know, right wing activism, I guess, then they pull the steam lever and put Donald Trump back on stage. But the thing that gives me hope is Donald Trump literally had to run on like 9/11 Truth and I Love WikiLeaks. Like, that's how close we are to a public like revolution, is that the candidate that has to be anti-establishment at this point literally walked on the verge of 9/11 Truth telling fucking Bush's brother Jeb Bush like, oh, we know what happened then, like, well, I was there, like, so that's how far their propaganda game has come and how well they're willing to write it. Like, my fear is that they're going to script war crime tribunals to get these like horrible megalomaniacs out of the public eye and then just bring in a whole new cast of characters or some techno dystopian society that they only need a few billionaires behind the scenes to run.
That's why we can't accept just like a changing of the guard. We can't, I mean, the whole system is corrupt to its core, period, end of story. It's not salvageable. It's just not. It's too far gone. You know, the way things are run right now, it's a handful of people that Pasta's right. We don't know their names. Most people don't know their name. Like, I know a couple of their names, but I'm sure that there are, you know, they don't want you to know their names. They definitely want to operate within the shadows. And that's why they go so hard after WikiLeaks, because WikiLeaks makes that more difficult for them.
Yeah.
But that's, I mean,
for all the hatred against AOC or against the Republican Party, like the fucking Mitch McConnells of the world, right? There is someone who supported that position in an elected office that's within 10 to 15 miles of your house. Whether it's Republican or Democrat, there is someone's office nearby that supported that trash-ass policy that you hated, but you're just told to hate AOC because of that policy, or told to hate the Republicans because of that policy. When there's someone close to you that you could hold accountable, even if they're the next district over, but people just funnel that into her and funnel that into these like pressure relief valves for certain political castes.
I do think there's value in calling those people out, though, because they are used as propaganda mechanisms and they are used to control the narrative and to control the discourse and to sheep herd people back into the corrupt system. AOC is very good at that. And so, you know, I think that we have to expose those people for what they are and the role that they play too, because she's, I mean, I'm going to get so much shit for this, but she's done more damage to an actual people's movement than just about anybody I can think of. I mean, Obama was pretty bad. Obama did a pretty terrible, yeah, Bernie too.
Bernie's still doing damage to this day and stuff.
Yes,
I mean,
yes, he is, and he needs to fuck all the way off.
Way to fuck off.
Yeah, I'm really just over his shit, honestly. I am so done with that dude. And I'm so tired of people trying to tell me that he's a nice guy. Bernie Sanders is not a nice guy. Period. End of story. You don't take millions of dollars from millions of people who didn't have it to give and then walk off the field twice when you've been publicly cheated. And you don't call Joe Biden a decent man and you're a good friend. He's a fucking war criminal. You don't get to be called a good person if your friends are war criminals. Find better friends.
But he's a war criminal too. I mean, he supported a lot of things. He turned the blind eye. He might have been a little bit vocal, but then he went and supported the man. Joe Biden is my friend. You just supported one of the biggest warmongers of all time.
Hillary Clinton.
And then you go all the way back to Kosovo and all that situation there too as well. He's never
the Iraq Liberation Act. Yeah,
I mean, he's talking about like he rushgated during the campaign. You know what I'm
he
saying?
still does it.
He calls out Navalny. He says Navalny this, Navalny that, but won't call out for Julian Assange. And it's beyond ridiculous. He's always been kind of suspect in those areas anyways. But the whole fucking just complete nosedive. And, you know, the only thing that really ever I say will give me some some justification for me to excuse him is if he was threatened and they threatened Jane. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it. Like, you know, I have a feeling that might have happened. Like, you know, the CIA.
But even then, you do a Ron Paul and you just go start a podcast. and
Yeah.
continue to organize people outside of the political process.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
unless they told him that he had to play his role, play your role and shut your mouth, or we'll do this, which is entirely possible. But that's not going to stop me from being outraged and from calling him out, because what he did is despicable, and nobody should ever, 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 even if you're threatened, which I get. Listen, I don't know that I'd have the balls to stand up against those kinds of people. But to me, I'm more worried about the people than I am about one dude. And I'm worried about the millions of people who are suffering and dying because Bernie Sanders didn't have the spine to stand up and fight for them, legitimately fight for them.
Especially in 2016 when the Democratic lawyers said in the courtroom before it was dismissed.
He still won't even talk about that. He won't even mention it.
To go into the back room full of cigar smoke and pick whoever they want. And that's when I was like out there in January 6th going, this should have been the progressives then. They should have planted their flag in the ground and say, you know what? We're not going to accept these results unless we get a full fucking audit and a real audit and see what's what. And we're going to fight for the people's choice. We're going to fight for democracy. And Bernie Sanders had the money, he had the resources, and he didn't do it.
He had the energy.
So much,
He could have, 2016, Bernie Sanders could have changed a lot of things if he actually wanted to. He had the momentum. He had the passion. People were so passionate and excited and ready to do fucking anything. I mean, they were willing to do anything that it took. And, it's the same thing as Obama disbanding his whole coalition of, volunteers and everything that really, that's what you're going to do. And then not only that, to, have WikiLeaks show evidence of the fact that you were cheated out of the 2016 election. And then you can't even say Julian Assange's name. Like you can't even speak up for it. Like not even like one time. Julian Assange has been in prison for 2 years and 3 or 4 months now, Andrew. And in that time, Bernie Sanders has not said Julian Assange's name, to my knowledge, one single time. That is, and he's your progressive hero? Are you joking?
And he had a bunch of election integrity activists like myself who could have pinpointed exactly where to look to show that this election was stolen from him. He had mathematical anomalies against him, just like Trump does in this election right here. Like, we were just going over some of the Georgia numbers, and it's like, guys, you can't say there's no proof. This is like mathematical impossibilities.
They used an app called Shadow Inc. to give the Iowa caucus to a CIA cutout.
Yeah, they sure did.
That happened. That's reality. And
the coin toss?
All that shit out.
And I'm talking like the coin toss, and the coin toss was funny because it happened in where Fiorello was one of the caucuses she went to, but they waited for all the press to leave, and I'm like, Fiorello, they're doing a coin toss over there. She's like, no, they're not. I'm like, Fee, and she's like, what the hell? She's like, and they took away a delegate from Bernie and gave it to fucking Pete Buttigieg by forcing a Fugazi coin toss. But then there was like those just in California and in fucking Texas alone, man, the voting numbers, like the voting patterns, were just off the charts. They were like, whoa, something is really, really wrong here. As an election integrity activist, it just indicates and pinpoints like something's going on here. They're either clustering and putting in a bunch of ballots that they have loaded for Joe Biden, or they're changing in the back end, with the fucking what Commander X taught us a long time ago, is when you can flip these things. Benny Smith from Fraction Magic people with Smart Elections, they have these features inside this proprietary software, and which nobody's still talking about by the way anyways. But you had all this proof that says, wow, Bernie, you're getting cheated left and right over here. You need to speak up with that. If you're really for the will of the people, you got to make sure that this is done right. All these people who spent all that money on you, nothing. Crickets. Bye. Gone. The guy is a little friggin' weasel. He's a cuck, and I am so done with him.
Well, and then for him,
8 shirts of him.
And now that he'll still like tweet about how he cares so much about election integrity and how the Republicans are so terrible and they want to suppress the vote. And fuck you, dude. Are you joking me? Yeah. I'm really tired of these progressives pretending like Republicans are the only problem. The whole point of the squad was that they were going to go in and they were going to challenge the Democratic establishment. People seem to forget that. That was their point. They were born out of the Bernie movement that had just gotten fucked over by the Democratic establishment, and people were mad, and they're like, okay, we're going to start electing our own people to go challenge Nancy Pelosi so that we can actually get some stuff done. And what do they do now? Now all they do is talk about Republicans. They've joined the Democratic Party. They will never criticize Nancy Pelosi. In fact, they call her Mama Bear. They give Joe Biden an A and said he's exceeding expectations. That's your progressive heroes. Those are the people who you elected to challenge Nancy Pelosi, and they're not doing that. And people just make excuses and justifications, and it's like it's now just been normalized that they're just part of the Democratic machine, and they, if we just elect a few more. No, it's not about electing a few more. They're all just going to continue to do the exact same thing. They're not doing what you sent them there to do. And I don't know why more people aren't pissed off about that. It's really
did you see-
frustrating.
Did you see what AOC said about Mike Gravel?
Nothing. She said nothing.
Exactly.
She
But
had all
didn't
kinds
she
of
fucking
beautiful words about
praise
John McCain. Yeah,
What?
she called John McCain an example of human decency. And she
Oh.
said nothing about Mike Gravel. Not
Yeah.
a word.
Yeah.
She still hasn't commented on the fact that Joe Biden has illegally bombed Syria twice in 6 months since he took office. She hasn't said a word about it.
Well, it's
But
because
when
there's
Trump
two
did it, he was a bad
sides to that
king.
conflict. There's the people being bombed and like the people bombing and the people bombing.
It's very
keep her in
complicated.
power,
She's not an
and
expert.
the people being bombed
Not an
make money for the
expert.
people that keep her in power. So
Right.
like you see the
And
two
I'm really
sides.
tired of her. People, y'all need to stop making excuses for her based on the fact that, like, oh, well, she's just not very good at foreign policy. She has a degree in international relations. Shut the entire fuck up. She knows what she's doing. She knows exactly what's happening in Syria. She knows what's happening in Venezuela. And they keep infantilizing the squad members. And like, oh, well, they're young and they're new. They just got elected. We have to give them time. No, these are highly educated people. They know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly who they're up against. AOC intern for Ted Kennedy. You think she's some dumb girl who just can't figure out how to get things done? No, this is intentional. It's intentional. She's not doing things intentionally.
Do you want
Is
to
this
do
the moment of
news,
the,
Lacey? You had that mint. You had the thing I think from Mint Press.
What?
Didn't you say you had some thing you put on a slide? I don't remember where it was from.
No, I have a Gray Zone video that they made of the thing. Okay, of DC. Oh, I'll talk about DC. Y'all want to talk about DC? Okay, I want to talk about DC.
I thought this was the time of the show where we're supposed to honor Juan Guaido since you brought up Venezuela. Since Biden, you know.
Are we supposed to like do a salute or something?
Well,
or
I'm
like,
going
are
to defer to the caucus leadership, which means I'm for imperialism. That's
okay, so hold on. Let me share my screen here. Okay, so this is a video from Gray Zone. Did it come up?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is from Gray Zone. They made this. I don't know if people are going to be able to hear my audio. Will you tell me? I don't know.
Did you click the box that says hear audio?
I don't know.
Back out your screen share real quick and go in again.
Hold on.
There'll be a box that you can check to share desktop audio.
It says share your screen.
Yeah, click share your screen, and then in the entire
I
screen,
see it.
Yeah.
I see it. Okay. Gotcha, fams.
Come on,
Okay.
Christy, get it together.
Listen, if I can remember the password to my email, I feel like a member of Anonymous. I am dumb as rocks when it comes to computer stuff. Not even kidding. Okay, so here we go.
English language, and I got a couple shows, so don't feel bad.
All right, here we go. This is the little video. It's 3 minutes, 30 seconds long. That Gray Zone was amazing. Max Blumenthal, Anya Parampil, and Ben Norton all showed up. They all gave speeches, which I had to call Ben Norton out a little bit to get him to do his, but that's okay. So this is a little video that they made.
Happy birthday, Julian Assange. Happy birthday to you.
Activists have actually gathered in Washington, D.C. outside of the U.S. Justice Department and are throwing a little birthday party for Julian Assange, who turns 50 on July 3rd. They're also here to deliver a letter to U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland demanding he drop the extradition case against Julian.
You can only be free if you know stuff. And that is essentially the motivation of Julian Assange and Chelsea Manning. Those documents, the Iraq war files, the Afghan war logs, the Guantanamo Bay files, and the tables, that understanding in there has seeped through over 10-year period into the culture. It's become incorporated in the United States.
Why are you out here today, Lee?
Same for cake. Julian Assange birthday cake. No, I'm here because it is tough in our like ridiculous goldfish memories and the news cycle now where it's got to be a new shiny thing every day. Keep the energy up over freeing Assange. We just got to keep it up because it's so easy. That's the goal of our prison system, our prison industrial complex, as well as what they're doing in Belmarsh, is to just make these people forgotten. It's just to erase them. I mean, the prison system in general is no longer about rehabilitation. It's about disappearing people. And so they're hoping Assange will just be, fade into nothingness and live out his days in a prison cell.
Justice for Julian! Justice for Julian!
We shall not be moved.
Drop all charges!
For me, I think think it was when Julian was arrested. I had been a casual kind of supporter of WikiLeaks and of Julian Assange before that, but when he was pulled out of the Ecuadorian embassy, it really kind of struck me, and it really put into sharp relief how serious this case is, and how it really is more about Julian Assange. This is very much about the future of the First Amendment, the future of press freedom, and this is a fight we can't afford to lose, and that's really what got me so heavily involved in what's going on.
And do you feel like this home run tour has shown that the people of the United States stand with Julian?
I think so. I've been really impressed with the level of support that we've seen across the country. It seems to be growing and building.
When the WikiLeaks came out with embassy cables in roughly 2010, I spent hours and hours reading all of the ones that were related to Venezuela. That's where I'm from. And there, it was very clear that, first of all, that we were right in terms of what the U.S. was doing in Venezuela. We were right in terms of identifying their strategy, which was basically to divide the movement of the Bolivarian Revolution and to divide the Latin American left as a whole. And when we talk about Assange, we have to really keep in mind the context, too. The context of an attack on the media, that any sort of media outlet that challenges the official narrative from Washington. There's a huge attempt right now by the U.S. to control what's being said. And Assange helped to break free from that.
That was beautiful.
Okay, so shout out to Gray Zone for coming out. They were amazing. I have some pictures.
Beautiful.
Oh,
Does that mean I'm not sure?
I think he meant you.
I meant you, Andrew. You, Andrew.
So I also have some pictures of you guys. I don't know if I can.
Huge shout out to Josh and fucking Jordan, right?
Yes.
Like those two, and Beth and Paula and Steve, like you, Misty, like the whole crew that was able to get that together and fucking build that and put that, like that was fucking beautiful.
Did Jordan sing?
She did. She was the one singing "Happy Birthday."
Yeah, and she also performed 3 songs at the very beginning. Like as the Shiptons were running a little bit late, so it was started at noon. I think they got there around like 12:20ish, and they actually had to leave early too because they were going to go do Crystal and Kyle. So while we were waiting for them to get there, Jordan performed like 3 songs for us, which was awesome because she's an amazing singer. And then I'm like holding the microphone as we go to sing "Happy Birthday," and I'm like, nobody needs to hear this. And I'm like, Jordan, please come here. I'm not singing. I'm a horrible singer.
I had to sing "Happy Birthday" at our thing, but before I did go on, Mike Ungelleider, Ungie we call him, he sung the Belmarsh Prison Blues, and I think it was used by one of the Action for Assange groups before in either England or whatnot. They used it. Awesome song, but he performed that right before Julian's birthday party, before we sang "Happy Birthday," before I screwed up that song.
I love all the birthday parties across the country. It's been awesome. LA, Denver, I think there was almost 50 recorded candles for Assange events across the world. So that puts us basically back to pre-pandemic levels again. So I'm excited because people are finally getting out and doing things again, right? Like we had, I think it was 35 or 36 countries for the April 11th protests. And the next big thing, right, is September. We have 4 weeks of when Julian sat on trial that he has won the case and is still in jail for. So that's going to be a big time for drop the charges push.
I'm a July 3rd guy now, guys. I just want to let you know that. Like, I'm not going to be celebrating July 4th, and I don't care if my conservative friends or patriots get mad at me. It was like, how could you not honor July 4th? And the people, well, I'm going to honor July 3rd.
Yeah, me too.
That's my jam. That's my shit. Catch me on the Farce of July, which is on July 3rd, Julian's birthday, and I'm going to keep celebrating July 3rd until that man is out of prison. Even when he gets out of prison, I'm going to celebrate July 3rd so they understand and know what this man has done for us. You know, the way he spoke the truth. You know, it didn't end with Julian Assange. It only began. And, you know, especially with his jailing. So people need to wake up because they're coming for you. Remember, today they said, was it yesterday? They're going to knock on doors. Yes. Make sure you got your vaccine, please.
Unbelievable, y'all. Yeah.
Oh, and this is the shit that people have been screaming about forever. Like, Ron Paul, love the man. I think this is like the 3rd time I brought him up, but he re-released a speech that he gave in 2009, where he's literally talking about the exact events of the world today warning people in 2009 like
Well,
this
Julian
is coming.
Assange has been calling this shit. Like, I mean, the quote about Facebook being the world's largest, I mean, that was like in 2014, he was warning us about Facebook.
What do you say? It's the world's largest what?
The world's largest spy device, or the world's worst spy device. I'm butchering that quote, but I mean, I can look it up. But yeah, he said that Facebook is like the worst spying app or whatever that you could ever ask for. And he was saying that in 2014.
You know what I said before I sang happy birthday? I said I'm going to say my favorite Julian quote, and I hope I don't fuck it up, and I'm sure I did. I said, if wars can be started with lies, then peace can be started with the truth.
Oh, here, I'll show you.
Yeah.
Here, I'll show you. Okay, let me screen share this. I'll show you what I got for...
knock on doors for what? They're going to start knocking on doors vaccinating people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andrew, have you got your vaccination? You and the raccoons? We're going to need you to come here
I
right
have,
now.
Can I, after this, I'll do a sad update on my raccoons.
Okay, so these are the bats that I got for John and Gabriel. So, okay, I just want to say...
Awesome.
Yeah, I just want to say a huge shout out to the company Engraved to Last. If you ever have anything like this that you need to get done, they do a bunch of different items that they can have engraved for, you know, corporate events or birthday parties or graduations or what the fuck ever. But I'm not kidding you. This is what happened. I emailed them on a Saturday, hoping this. I had to leave on Wednesday. I emailed them on a Saturday, and I'm like, I don't know if you can make this happen, but I need to get these bats made before I go to DC next week. Is it possible? I was hoping that they would be open on a weekend, right? They're not open on a weekend. So the guy gets this on Monday. I'm asking to have it by Tuesday because I could wait till Wednesday, but I needed to leave early Wednesday morning. So I really needed it by Tuesday. So he's like, well, if you're willing to pay for overnight shipping, I'll get it done for you. So this guy called me Monday morning and had them to me by Tuesday afternoon. And that is fucking amazing. So this is just a bat. It's a full size, very heavy, very sturdy, high quality baseball bat. We did the Home Run for Julian logo. We did a list of all of the cities that they went to. And then this is my favorite quote. It says, that is my temperament. I enjoy creating systems on a grand scale, and I enjoy helping people who are vulnerable, and I enjoy crushing bastards. And so that's a quote from Julian Assange. It's my favorite quote of all time. It made sense to go on the baseball bat because, you know, you like to crush a ball and he likes to crush bastards. So that was my little gift to John and Gabriel. It was a lot of fun to give that to them. And then these are just some of the pictures. I want to give a shout out to Paula for this. She made these. So if you guys have seen, there's the statues that they have of Snowden, Manning, and Assange. It's called the Anything to Say exhibit. And so it's four chairs, one with each of them. And then there's an empty chair meant for other people, for other whistleblowers, for other people who see things that want to speak out. And I just thought that this was really cool because I looked over and somebody had set the megaphone down on the fourth chair. And that just felt like a really cool moment. So Paula made these out of wood. They're really amazing. So shout out to her for making those because that was really awesome to have there.
Yeah, I heard the bat was not a Louisville slugger. It was an Australian slugger.
I'm actually, I'm so sad I couldn't make it.
It was honestly, Andrew, it was not the same without you. It really was not.
And I'm so glad that everyone still got it together, and it makes my heart warm that like everyone can do all of that and that it happened, and like that was just like the people involved that made that happen were fucking awesome. And
another shout out to Paula too, because she kind of spearheaded that whole thing. She was a little bit upset that they were going to be ending the tour on June 30th rather than giving DC the extra day of July 1st. And she really wanted it to end on a street action rather than at some panel in some air-conditioned space, which I love her for because that's the way that it should end. And so she's really the one that spearheaded that effort and that really pushed to make it happen and got the Shiptons to agree to stay for the extra day, which I'm sure they would have anyways because they were going to do Crystal and Kyle. But it was very kind of them to show up. It was hot. Oh my God, it was so hot. I was a sweaty Betty, y'all. It was like dripping off of me.
The East Coast humidity, I don't miss it.
It was terrible. I mean, I'm from Ohio, so I'm used to it, but it still sucked. It was IO.
Sorry,
yeah, it's but yeah, it was really, 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 really hot.
All right, Andrew, give us the sad news. I can see it on your bearded
why
face.
you gotta shit all over that was just made me all happy to talk about DC, and now you're gonna ruin it. Why are you gonna do that?
Well, it's probably more appropriate for off camera, but the raccoons ran away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the raccoons ran away.
Oh,
yeah.
That's happiness. That's okay.
Well, I mean, they're raccoons. Like they're supposed to be outside, so I don't know if they actually ran away, but they escaped.
Maybe they'll come back.
Right,
It'll be
that's
like
my
you'll have
hope.
your own little Disney creatures that come and visit you every once in a while.
Yeah, that's okay.
Did we
They're
want to
out there
do
doing freedom.
start talking about Tarek's article, or did we want to
We can.
hold off?
I have to get going, guys. But I
Okay.
just want to say thank you
Thanks
so
for
much
popping in,
coming out.
Pasta. We
Thank you,
appreciate
Bobby.
you.
Awesome, guys.
We need real quick. We need
go
to
ahead.
set up a time to talk about the September stuff.
Oh yeah.
We'll probably have another
yeah,
meeting in a day or
totally.
two.
By the way, Misty, I don't have a new show, but I kind of started a game show tonight.
I saw it was premiering tonight, but I didn't get a chance to
Yeah,
watch it.
I had to turn it off because Misty jumped into the Jitsi room. Like I was sitting there watching it when she came in.
It's called What the Fuck Are You Talking About? And
I love it.
It's usually one of the hosts, me, Fee, Johnny, which either one. And we have 3 contestants. And they come on in and they bring somebody that they want to say, what the fuck are you talking about to? And then we pass it on to the other members. And the person whose person it is will then allocate points, 3 for first place, 2 for second, 1 for third. And at the end, we'll just crown a winner. And the first show is with Yellow Bro, a.k.a. Jordan, Shadow Band Refugee, who's just some of our fans, and then also Propaganda Live. And once again, some of our fans. I want to find a way to incorporate a lot of our fans that come on to all these Discord chats and everybody we talk to behind the scenes that brings so much friggin' knowledge to the table. Or if they're just kind of like a newer starting show that needs a little bump, like Yale Bro did, we're gonna get them on and we're gonna let them express their opinions in there and just great conversation. I throw a little music in there and it was really, really fun. So check it out. It's called What the Fuck Are You Talking About? We're putting up another Yo Vegans up as well. We went and we found some really good, the best pizza I think in LA for vegan pizza is going to be Garage Pizza. So check it out. We went to the episode. Great cheese, great meat, perfect crust, good sauce. Check it out. We also went to this other place. You'll love this. This is an OHIO place. It's it's called Cinnabon. And it's a bunch of cinnamon buns, like 5 or 6 different flavors, all vegan with all different types of stuff in it to make this dessert. It was rich. It was richier than rich. You know what I'm saying? It was, I don't think I said that right, but it was rich like rich. And it was just awesome. We put up another video up too as well. And this week we are taking off to hell and back because Shanda's on vacation. But we did an episode. It was about fentanyl, and people need to go watch this stuff and see what's going on because there's an attack on us. We talk about the predator class. This is a way they're killing our citizens. They're getting them addicted to shit. I know a lot of people out there think it's just a choice, just say no. But the majority of people who are addicted to opioids, stimulants, those sort of things, sleeping pills, whatnot, they're initially introduced by a doctor, the man in the white coat saying, take this, it's okay. And then they pull the chain on you and you become an addict. And that's what they want, Big Pharma. They don't want customers. They want addicts because addicts are the best customers. And you should go and check out To Hell and Back. It's on the Rockfin. My co-host Shanda Masta, great episode. So I know you like to plug my shows, but I'm going to plug them for you today, Mini Moneybags. And I love you, Andrew, too, as well. You guys are amazing. Thanks for always having me on. It's a pleasure. And
Yeah.
I'm happy that I'm
Anytime
regular
you want
with
to come on, I love
Your
having you on.
fams. This is your home too, dude.
Well, thank you so much. And big up to Robbie Roblito. He's out there doing some amazing work, guys. Go check him. He brings the receipts. And
There's a new Politify out today. Everybody go check it out. New Politify. Go check it out.
Important.
Yeah.
I love you guys.
Love you too, Pasta. See you later, dude.
Combo
Thanks for
out.
coming.
Thank you.
All right, man. Let's do some news, dude.
This is 6 slides, so we'll do like 1 or 2 and then talk, and then we'll see where we're at.
Andrew's like, Missy's gonna yell at me.
I know, I'm scared. I promised I wouldn't do slides, but
I honestly don't mind to read them. I worry people get bored that we're reading to them, So we got to figure out a better way to do the news, I think.
I just have to clip the articles better because I'm like, oh, all of this is important and relevant.
Yeah, you do that a lot. It's like 45 slides.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't put it in presenter mode.
Oh.
There we go.
All right, here we go. Are we ready? Are you reading or am I?
I'll kick it off. That's fine.
All right.
Leaders of the Group of 7 nation states met with their annual summit in Curris Bay in Britain's southwest from June 11th through the 13th. The time between pantomimes with elbow bumps later replaced with far more intimate settings and photo ops with the Queen. U.S. President Joe Biden and British Prime Minister Boris Johnson stepped aside from the G7 members to sign a new version of the 80-year-old Atlantic Charter. The historic document, once drafted by Winston Churchill and FDR, that preceded America's early entry into World War II. In 1941, the document, with its dedication to democracy and territorial integrity, is widely regarded as paving the way for the creation of the United Nations. It is a favorite of the U.S. and UK leaders for invoking a special relationship. In 2019, Prime Minister Theresa May gifted President Donald Trump with a reproduction of Churchill's personal copy of the Charter, including corrections he made in red pencil. And while the original focused on the destruction of the Nazi tyranny, the revised version pursued Russia and China by calling for Western allies to oppose the interference through disinformation and other malign influences, including in the elections. While not naming the countries directly, it adds, "We affirm our shared responsibility for maintaining our collective security and international stability and the resilience against the full spectrum of modern threats, including cyber threats." But aside from wagging their fingers at the West's latest boogeyman of choice, particularly those of the U.S., the New Atlantic Charter makes an important affirmation to defend the principles and values and institutions of democracy and open societies. In the first emphasized point, it draws a line in the sand to champion transparency, uphold the rule of law, and support civil society and independent media. We will also confront injustice and inequality to defend the inherent dignity and human rights of all individuals. One cannot help but feel all such affirmations stand hollow, with arguably the most well-known journalist of this generation, WikiLeaks publisher Julian Assange, incarcerated in solitary confinement at a British maximum security prison, however. So this is the
bullshit. It's bullshit. This is all just platitudes and bullshit. They are feeding you. This is the same stuff as like on World Press Freedom Day, Joe Biden coming out and being like, "Oh, well, free press is the foundation of democracy." Julian Assange is being tortured right now. Like, it's the hypocrisy of this stuff is so infuriating. It's infuriating, and they get away with it. Like, there's a whole huge segment of the population that eats this shit up.
Right, and the fact that Theresa May gave Donald Trump one of these and was like, literally in it says we're gonna like champion transparency. Like, bullshit. Like, I don't even see why they charade anymore, because they can get away with it. I think at this point they could openly be like, yeah, fuck you guys, we're shutting down the media. Like I legitimately think we've fallen so far that Joe Biden or whatever person is speaking through him could say, yeah, we're just not going to allow the media to happen anymore. It's just all going to be state funded. And then people would be like,
almost
woo!
there. We're almost there. We're almost there.
Well,
it's so scary.
Worse.
Yeah, you're right.
And then these people go around the world acting like they're defending anything. Like no one believes it anymore.
Well, it's like when we talk about human rights. What? Are you kidding? Like, we talk about, the president of Azerbaijan and how he's terrible to journalists, or we talk about Putin and how he's terrible to journalists. And it's no different than when we talk about any, war crimes of, like, we like to call Bashar al-Assad a brutal dictator. Well, what the fuck does that make us then? Like, if he's a brutal dictator, then, I mean, is there even a word for the evilness of the United States? Because we're the only ones that are blowing up the globe. We're the only ones that are occupying the globe. I mean, Syria doesn't have 1,000 bases across the planet.
We have a vice president that openly wouldn't let innocent people out of jail because it would interrupt the prison fucking labor supply.
The slave system. Yeah, it's a slave system. It's prison slavery is what it is. Fighting fires for $1 a day or $1 an hour or whatever it is.
You can't get a job as a firefighter even though you just spent the last 2 decades of your life doing it. Yeah.
In like the toughest of conditions.
Right.
Like, these would be unbelievably amazing firefighters to have on any fire department because they have faced the toughest imaginable. I can't imagine a bigger deal as a firefighter than to go fight the wildfires in California. But they can't get jobs afterwards. It's unbelievable. Yep. It is. But this is also the same person who is telling people from like Guatemala to don't come. Don't come. She used to like give Donald Trump shit for saying that exact same thing about how he was heartless. And now she is regurgitating that exact same rhetoric. But it's fine when she does it because she's a Democrat.
The scary part is when you can look at the world and like see where they have united people ideologically, right? Because you have Republicans and Democrats that both support building the wall. You have Republicans and Democrats that both support illegally invading whatever country we want. We have Republicans and Democrats that both support unconditional censorship as long as it's against the people that make me feel uncomfortable, right? So, like, there is ideological unity, and that's the scary thing, because Hillary Clinton ran on Donald Trump's 2016 platform back when she ran against Obama in 2008, right? And then Joe Biden ran on the same platform, if not further right, literally like talking shit about not getting the walls built.
He gave some, like they like to say it was the most progressive platform in history, but I'm so tired of people talking to me about a platform that means jack shit. It means absolutely nothing. It's not worth the paper that it's written on. The platform is, it's not like a binding document. They're not going to go through with any of it. Like Joe Biden could literally start putting Medicare for all, free college tuition. Doesn't mean he's going to do any of it. I'm so tired of people talking about the platform. Bernie Sanders started that bullshit in 2016 with, we're going to push Hillary Clinton to, come out with the most progressive. They did this exact same rhetoric, the most progressive platform in Democratic Party history. And now Joe Biden ran on the most progressive part. He's giving more money to cops. He's still got kids in cages. He's still torturing Julian Assange. He just bombed Syria illegally twice within 6 months of being in the presidency. None of that shit matters. It doesn't matter. Like people get
He
like
put fucking Daniel Hale in jail under the he has any authority or brain, but his administration put Daniel Hale in jail for fucking espionage. His first Espionage Act conviction is a man that revealed that Joe Biden was looking at Americans on baseball cards and fucking droning them. Like, that's not a conflict of interest, that the administration prosecuting the whistleblower is the people that were called out? Like, how is that not a thing?
It's unbelievable that that's like where we're at. It's, the cops investigated themselves and it's fine. That's essentially what this is. It's, Joe Biden doesn't want to go to prison for war crimes, so Daniel Hale's going to go to jail anyway, or instead. And that's essentially what that is. Like, Joe Biden should be in jail. He shouldn't be the president of the United States. And he should be in jail for a multitude of reasons. It's not just the war crimes. He's a fucking rapist. He's, at best, he is grossly inappropriate with children. I would...
But they touched his hairy legs.
You know what I'm saying, though? Like, it's on camera, him groping little girls. He got selected president. That's really depressing to me, that's where we're at in the United States of America, that's the kind of person that we elevate to a position of power. And you're right, he's not really in power. He's a noodle brain moron. But he is the presented position of power. He's the face on the power. And that's terrifying. And the fact that it came down to Joe Biden and Donald Trump should piss every single American citizen off, that is the last two people left standing in a country of over 340 some odd million or something. And that's what we're left with. Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Your system is a failure, y'all. We can do better. We can do better. I promise you, we can do better than Joe Biden and Donald Trump. My 10-year-old would be better than Joe Biden or Donald Trump. You know,
just elect a squirrel. I like David Rovics's position.
I would take a squirrel. It's, about the same intelligence level of Joe Biden or Donald Trump.
And you wouldn't have to give it Alzheimer medicine to get it to pay
right?
attention.
Just some nuts every once in a while. Happy squirrel.
There's a great joke somewhere there.
There is.
I'm gonna pull the screen share back up.
Okay. You want me to take over?
Yeah, if you could take over.
All right. In his month-long extradition proceedings that took place at the Old Bailey in London in September 2020, Professor Paul Rogers, a senior fellow at the Oxford Research Group and a peace studies professor at the University of Bradford, testified that, quote, the political objective of seeking to achieve greater transparency is clearly both the motivation and the modus operandi for the work of Mr. Assange and the organization WikiLeaks, end quote. It was this, Rogers said, that brought Assange into direct confrontation with the Trump administration. Quote, the chronology of the subsequent progression of prosecutorial actions in relation to Mr. Assange suggests that it paralleled the overt expression of hostility by President Donald Trump to the press generally as enemies, and the reporting of accurate news being dismissed as quote, fake news, and of whistleblowers as, quote, traitors, widening the gulf between reporting of state actions and the desire of the government for preserving secrets, end quote. Eric Lewis, an American attorney who is partner at Lewis, Bach, Kaufman, Middlemiss, PLLC, and is the U.S. chairman of Reprieve, told the court that Assange's indictment came as a direct result of Trump's personal vitriol towards journalists and leakers. He pointed to a quote from the then Washington Post commentator Chris Cillizza, who said, quote, "I've never seen so much leaking so quickly and with such disdain for the president as I have in the first 6 days of Donald Trump's presidency," end quote.
That's a crazy thing to me.
Yeah, it's accurate though, I think.
No, it is.
There was a ton of leakage going on.
And that's something that like the right never held him accountable for. Like it took fucking Merrick Garland to meet with these people and then drop charges or drop investigations and indictments against journalists for looking into Russiagate.
Yeah.
We all knew from the beginning that Russiagate was bullshit. Like, they don't need to be doing indictments for this. Like, they need to be releasing accurate information to the public about the fucking world we live in, right? But instead, you have this bullshit left-right paradigm. And honestly, it's probably, in my opinion, to get people out that they want to leak, right? So you bring this whole facade out, and then you get people of conscience to leak things in an environment where Russiagate doesn't really matter all that much anyways, because it's fucking fabricated and used to just divide people, right? So they get all of these people to put all of these leaks out in regards to this and then just fucking start arresting them like Reality Winner. Like it's this whole bullshit paradigm where like you're supposed to be the defender of free speech as the right-wing bullshitter, and literally decimates it. Like not even the Jim Acosta bullshit, but like actual decimation of
the fact that Donald Trump had Julian Assange arrested should piss every Trump supporter off beyond comprehension. That's not what you signed on for. And like, this is going to hurt some Trump supporters' feelings, but y'all got Obama'd. You need to recognize that. You got Obama. That dude was never your friend. He was never there for you. He's not some like outsider who's there to challenge the system. I don't know if it could be more clear that he is not who he pretended to be. He fucked you over. He lied to you repeatedly. He broke 1,000,001 promises. And he was never on your side. You got Obama. And I know that sucks. I get it. I really do. I know that sucks and it's hard to like come to terms with, but it would be cool if you could do that.
That was actually the funniest thing James Corbett has done in a while is he took all of what people said about Obama like before he ended his presidency, like, oh, he's fighting these people, just wait till the second term, blah, 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 blah. And then it ended and they were like, he was just one man. What could you want him to do? He didn't have Congress on. And then literally you take what they said and you can paste it into the articles about Trump.
Yeah.
And just switch the name. And it's fucking
team
hilarious.
Sports. Yeah, it's team sports. It's again, we just talked about this earlier. It's this thing where when my team does it, it's fine. And when their team does it, it's the worst thing that's ever happened. And it's the same thing. If you're ever willing to make those kinds of excuses and justifications for a politician, you need to take a step back. You need to take a step back because these people are not, this isn't like some fan club. Like people are like treating, I'm going to age myself here, but people treat celebrities like they're, like some teeny bop heartthrob on the cover of Tiger Beat. Like it's Jonathan Taylor Thomas or something. And you can't criticize them. It's New Kids on the Block or what the fuck ever. And it's like this weird cult of personality. Do you know what I'm saying? That's what it's like. It's like it's this really bizarre thing where it's like a fan club.
Trump's face on
on Tiger Beat. Somebody make me that, please. Make me a Tiger Beat cover with Donald Trump on it. That's some funny shit.
And
that would be some. Don't lie. That would be some funny
Taylor
shit.
Thomas in probably like a decade.
I know. I used to, but honestly, I had the biggest crush on him. The biggest crush on him, like in the Home Improvement days. And then he was in this movie, I think called like Man of the House or something. And he was the cutest thing. But then I realized he's short, you guys. I'm 5'9", and I think he's like 5'4", and that was a heartbreaking discovery for me that he's that short. I mean, I wasn't 5'9" at the time, but like at like 12, I was like 5 inches taller than him or something, Yeah, I did have a big crush on him. Sorry, I don't know why I got off on my
No,
childhood
it's
crushes,
okay.
but I had a huge and Devin Sawa.
Says,
Older millennial girls, or boys. You can have Devin Sawa's cute for everybody.
We got an article.
You don't want to talk about my childhood crushes anymore? Okay. All right, I have to be serious because this is a serious article and now I'm laughing. Okay.
Do you want me to read it? Do you want to read?
No, I got it. And while Assange was no doubt the biggest fish to catch in this assault, in 2018, it emerged that New York Times reporter Ali Watkins, who had worked on a July 2017 story about the FBI's ongoing investigation of Russia, had her phone and email records seized by the DOJ in a leak investigation. Earlier this year, it was also revealed that reporters from the Washington Post and CNN also experienced similar targeting. President Joe Biden labeled it simply wrong, quote, simply wrong, that the DOJ seized the phone and email records of journalists in the aftermath of anger following the disclosures, adding that he would not let it happen under his administration. It's happening. However, it was revealed on June 4th that attempts by the DOJ to obtain private records had in fact continued under Biden. On March 3rd, the Justice Department placed a gag order on lawyers for the New York Times in relation to efforts to seize 4 journalist records. On Monday, June 14th, the newly appointed Attorney General Merrick Garland met with executives from the New York Times, the Washington Post, and CNN in an effort to assuage them that his department would no longer continue the practice. Times publisher A.G. Sulzberger issued a statement following the off-the-record meeting that read, "We were encouraged by Attorney General Garlick's statements, but we will continue to push until our concerns are addressed."
I just gotta say that if you're a journalist and you receive a fucking gag order, don't fucking follow it. That just means you're doing something right. And if you're a lawyer for a journalist and you receive a gag order, you better have the balls to stand up or you shouldn't be a lawyer for a journalist.
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents.
So perhaps President Biden and his administration have some ways to go in ensuring press freedoms are respected, but may be forthright in their commitment to rolling back the Trump and frankly Obama-era style of assaults on freedom of speech, namely in their prosecution of leakers and journalists. It is welcome news from Monday that NSA whistleblower Reality Winner, a former intelligence contractor for Pluribus International and a language analyst in the U.S. Air Force, the first leaker to be prosecuted under Trump, will be released from the prison into a halfway house later this year. Although, by all indications, the move was a result of good behavior as opposed to actions by Biden or the DOJ. Nonetheless, if his administration is earnest in ensuring that the promises of late are kept, be it to the media executives or the proclamations emblazoned on the new Atlantic Charter, keeping Assange in jail is incongruent with any such goals. Free Assange, bitches.
About the fact that Reality's out of jail. Right? Not done, not finished, not over with the process, but fucking finally at home with her family.
Again, like that article just said, it's because of good behavior. It's not because the Biden administration did the right thing. It's because she earned her way out of jail. And that we need to make sure that point is clear, because this is not something that I think a lot of people are giving the Biden administration credit for releasing Reality Winner. And that's not the case at all. She was let out based on her good behavior in jail. And we need to make sure that that's clear, because we still have to keep pressuring Joe Biden.
Right. And we need Joshua Schultz to be free. We need Commander X. Craig fucking Murray. Links in the description for Craig Murray's legal
Daniel
defense.
Hale.
Yeah, Daniel Hale. We got the fucking January 6th people at this point. Like, I don't even know their names really, but fucking it's literally domestic torture.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, and I mean, I hate to give credit to Ryan Grimm. Ryan Grimm blocked me today on Twitter. I think it was today. I don't know when it happened, but
that's exciting.
He
that's
did.
A badge of honor.
But I mean, I don't care. He still did a great monologue today on Rising, where he kind of did. It's not great. It's it's like a really good breakdown of the Assange case and why it's important. And I highly recommend everybody go check it out. Even though I think he's a total muppet, he's a douche canoe. But it is still.
He's been called
he's great
out
on Assange.
Fucking breathlessly about not supporting Julian. Like the shit that the Intercept tried to pull by spinning some shit that Chelsea said like.
Well, he himself cheered on his extradition to Sweden. He's never apologized for that.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is a motherfucker who's, I don't want to call him responsible because I don't have evidence, but works for a media institution that directly funds Bellingcat.
And screws over sources.
Intelligence organization. But somehow they're supposed to hold private intelligence accountable.
Yeah, no, I have no love or respect for Ryan Graham whatsoever, but I'm big enough to say he did a really good monologue today, and people should go check it out. It's a really good, it's maybe like 10 minutes long, but it's like a good for like the uninitiated or the confused. He does a really good job of going through the different counts, how they have evidence for none of it, how none of it makes sense at all whatsoever. And so it is, I mean, it's not great, but it's a pretty good starter video, I would say, to why what's happening matters.
I did send Ken Klippenstein the pictures of me going to Trump's rally, putting them up, and I didn't see an article get published.
Yeah, he's not ever going to cover Julian Assange, not in a real way. He'll take shots at him on podcasts, but he's never going to cover Julian Assange. He's a national security reporter, but he's never going to cover Julian Assange. It's not going to happen. The Intercept is not going to cover Julian Assange probably in a really, really real way. Ryan Graham, maybe. But, he still works for the Intercept. So you should leave, Ryan. If you want to be taken seriously, you should leave the Intercept.
And
I'm going to say it again. If you were a whistleblower, stay the fuck away from the Intercept. Do not go to the Intercept under any circumstances. Don't do it.
They
are known for blowing sources. Yes.
Yeah.
The Intercept itself is personally responsible for 3 whistleblowers being exposed. And then Matthew Cole, who now works for the Intercept, was also responsible before he worked for the Intercept for exposing John Kiriakou. So they have a terrible track record. If you intend to blow the whistle on something, first of all, thank you. You should definitely do it. Be safe about it. Contact a lawyer. Make sure you do it the right way. Do not go to the Intercept. Period. PSA. That's my PSA for the day.
Amen.
Don't do it. Amen. Ramen.
Gotta get with the cult theme.
Yeah. Got it. Oh yeah, I am a cult leader. We need like a secret handshake for our cult.
We do.
Can we get matching tattoos?
Just get the A for A logo on our forehead.
I was thinking more of like the what's it called? The hourglass, like the WikiLeaks hourglass or something. Cool. I would actually do that. I had
someone that previously worked at Booz Allen Hamilton once walk up to me and be like, "Yeah, I got a tattoo of my fraternity. I'm a Q." I'm like, "You're creepy."
That is kind of creepy. Yeah. But I would do it. I would do the WikiLeaks hourglass. I would do that, or something WikiLeaks related. I would totally get. Wouldn't the Stalker Squad would love it. Can you imagine how much fun they would have? I would have fun watching them have fun on Twitter, trying to spin that. We should get fake ones and just fuck with them.
We should get face tattoos.
Yeah, can we do I'll just send you they have that tattoo paper that you can print your own tattoos. I'll send them to everybody and we can all just show up one day with them on our face or something in the middle of our foreheads and be like, we all got tattoos. That would be fun. That's a good troll actually. That would be fun to watch them try to make fun of us.
That'd be a good time.
It would. Gotta entertain myself somehow.
I think we can wrap. You want to wrap?
Cool. I'm Misty. You can find me on Twitter at Sarcasm Stardust. I have another show called Facts on the Ground with Jesse Zerwell. Like I said, we just did a 3-hour interview with Dontel from Unapologetic, which you should definitely be watching his show. He's great. I also have Bitch with Comrade Misty, which is every Wednesday at 7 Eastern. This week I have Nat. From Mexico. She's our dear friend from Mexico. She's also friends with Commander X. So we're going to get an update on X and bitch about what's happening to him. Among other things, she's going to be fun to rant with. So I'm excited about that. And then I'm also emceeing, if you're in the Columbus area, I'm emceeing the March for Medicare for All, which is July 24th in Columbus. So come hang out for that if you want to. Jesse Jett's going to be there to perform, which is going to be fun. I think we're going to do a food drive and some other stuff. So it's going to be a good day. I think that's it. Oh, Daniel's billboard campaign in North Carolina. Please go donate if you're able to. He's already got one up. I think just one up right now, but he's working towards the second one. And also just an update on the Ohio billboard thing. I'm going to start that back up probably the 1st of August because football season starts at the end of August. And there is that billboard that I've been looking at. I would ideally like to do it for the entirety of football season, but that's 12 weeks. And it's $3,500 for 4 weeks. So I don't know if we're going to be able to raise that much money. I would love to because that would seriously, an unbelievable location. It's right by the shoe. Tons of traffic during football season, especially given the fact that we didn't have really a football season last year. I mean, we had one, but you couldn't go. There was no tailgating. There was nothing. We're doing all that again this year. So it's good. People are going to be out. We'll be able to get a ton of eyes on it. So I would love to run it for the full 12 weeks. But I don't know if we'll be able to raise that kind of money. But if nothing else, I would like to do it for the final 4 weeks of the season, because it's when all the bigger games are. That's when the Michigan game is, stuff like that. So yeah, I would love to pick that back up so we can get some stuff going on around the stadium for football season, because I think that would be a good idea. But yeah, that's it. I think that's all I got.
In the description, we got the July 20th protest for freeing Commander X. That's down there. Steve's leading that up. That's super, super cool. They said more information coming on Thursday at ABB, so check that out. I was recently, last night I'm with KRTD. 2 nights ago I was on with ABB. Really cool interviews. I go over a lot of the stuff that we've talked about, but I get to talk about other things that aren't usual subject matter, so I thought that was pretty sweet. September, endthedamnwars.org. We're going to be working in conjunction with Kimber, with Magnus. We're going to be working with Pasta and Fee, with Fuck Censorship. So we're going to, so far as it stands, we'll have Free Assange, Fuck Censorship, and End the Damn Wars. We're probably going to be launching our own GoFundMe for it, or Go Get Funding, or what have you. That'll be something that we got to talk about behind the scenes and then put out. Super pumped about that. Please start getting ready for September now. I'm going to put some stuff up. I haven't done a call to action on the website in a long time. So I'm going to put up some information. We're going to start reaching out to city councils, hopefully within your local community, within your county, what have you, to try to see if, one, we can't get them to come out in support of Julian, but two, if we can't get people to city councils talking about what he's going through. Because it really humanizes the issue when a local elected official is forced to talk about the torture programs at the behest of the United States. So it's a pretty powerful thing. It's not a silver bullet. There's no solution to the world we live in aside from keep organizing, fighting, and informing people. But I just ask everybody, do what you can with the time and money that we all have left, because I personally think that in the long run we're winning, but the day-to-day battles make it seem damn near impossible. So thank everybody so much. Thank you, Cara. Thank you, Pasta, for joining in. This weekend we have Deepa joining us on Saturday to talk about everything that took place outside Belmarsh and for the UK celebration. I think I have somebody set up for Tuesday, but I'm not positive. I got to double check on that. But we'll be here. Thank you guys so much.